Hi, good morning. Thanks so much for joining in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit, and my name is Alex Mathew. This show gets you answers to all of your stock-related questions, and to that end, if you've got them for us, either short-term or long-term, you can send it to us on that number that you see flashing on your screen. Let's very quickly take you through what's happening with the equity markets. And there were some murmurings that there could be a little bit of volatility to deal with because of the Hindenburg report that came out over the weekend. But it seems at this juncture that was largely hot air. And that's what the market has taken from it as well. As you see on your screen, the Nifty 50 is trading with gains of about 0.4% and has recovered all of the gains, all of the losses rather, from earlier on in the session. It is now trading in the green. The broader market's also looking sanguine. You have the mid-cap index that's trading with cuts of just about 0.1% right now. And you have the small cap index that's trading in the green, up as much as 0.4%. Market breadth, as a result of all of that, is in favor of the advances, I would think. And it is more or less a vote of confidence in the regulatory system in India. The allegations that were made against the SEBI as well as the SEBI chairperson have been ignored summarily. It's not just the leading market participants that have spoken to you on this platform and multiple platforms and have said as much. It is also the investing community that has rubbished these claims. Let's talk about a few stocks that are in focus. In fact, actually, let's give you the sectoral breakup, because earlier on in the session, you had most sectors in the green. That picture has changed quite substantially as things stand, and it's more or less even Stevens. You have realty as a pack that's doing quite well, up as much as 1%. You have metal, you have finance, you have services. You have the Nifty Bank, which has recovered from the low point of the day. It's now trading with gains of about 0.4%. What's not doing too well is a PSU banking pack, which has also recovered, I might add. But you have the media pack that is not doing particularly well. That's down about 1.2% or thereabouts. But let's talk about Voltas, which according to me is a stock of the day because it's gaining about 8% on the back of strong results. We've got Mahima joining in to tell you about what stood out and why investors are positive on the stock. Mahima, what are the key highlights?
Right, Alex. So, strong set of numbers for Q1 FY25, and all the numbers have beaten analyst estimates. Now, in terms of the numbers itself, revenue is up around 46%. EBITDA has significantly improved from that 185 crore mark to a 424 crore mark, which is almost 3 times. Margins have improved from 5.5 to 8.6, and net profit has more than doubled from 129 crore to 335 crore. Now, a couple of highlights where they sold around 1 million ACs this particular quarter. Overall volume growth was approximately 67% YOY, and changes in inventory was up by 10 times. And overall revenue from their unitary cooling product was up around 51%, and revenue from their electromechanical products and services was up around 40%. And of course, this kind of growth in terms of volume and revenue was on the back of extreme heat waves that we have witnessed, and that is why there was a significant uptick in the sale of ACs that Voltas has witnessed. Now, in terms of the stock performance, well, 1 month the stock has been roughly up 1.5%. However, today the stock is doing very well. It's up around 8.4%. And 6 months it's been up around 44%. And 1 year it's been up around 87%. So we're yet to receive the investor presentation and press release for more details. But overall, this is the view of what Q1 FY25 for Voltas looks like.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Mahima, for getting us those details. Now, several companies have complained about the heat wave that has affected sales and footfalls. That hasn't been the case, of course, for an air conditioner manufacturer. It is the opposite, in fact, and they've had a great quarter. Samir Dalal, Natwar Lal and Sons, stockbrokers, as well as Rajesh Palvia, Senior Vice President, Technical and Derivatives Research at Axis Securities, joining me this morning. Thank you so much, gentlemen, as always, for taking the time, and good morning to you. I normally go to Samir for a fundamental check of the stock that we've chosen, but today, as an exception, I will go to you, Rajesh, just to talk about the texture of the market as things stand. We've seen quite a bit of news flow over the weekend, and we've spoken at length about the allegations that have been made about India's institutions, India's regulator. That seems to have been ignored by the market, and the texture has changed quite substantially over the last hour and a half or hour or so. How does it look right now?
Morning, Alex. So yes, the investor of Indian market has ignored the allegations which was made by the Hindenburg, and the prices are clearly giving them reply. Nifty is, comfortably holding about 24,400. Initial dip of 24,200 bought by the market participant, and now we are back about 24,400. So put-based concentration has acted as a good support area. Even for the Bank Nifty 50,000 acted as a good support area, which was the previous put-based concentration. So there is no, further more short addition despite of these kind of news flow which has, surfaced on the weekend. So I think this is the clear confidence on the street, and we believe that in the way a market is holding about 24,400, I think there is a possibility, in the second half, again, we could see breakout about 24,500. If that happened, then there would be a short covering action we can witness in the market, and then possibly Nifty can move further higher. So 24,500 is the immediate level where we are focusing now on the Nifty spot. If it's crossed, then another round of short covering would trigger on the Nifty. And for Bank Nifty, 51,000 is the immediate level to watch for. If it crosses, then here also we could see a short covering action to trigger. So I think texture is still looking on the bullish side only. There is no dent despite of these news flow. I think that clearly shows the confidence on our regulators as well as on the growth trajectory of our Indian market.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. Thanks so much for that view, Rajesh. Coming to you, Samir, on Voltas. What did you make of the results, and would you buy? It's 8% up and it's had quite the run in 2024.
Absolutely. The results were fabulous. If you look at it, because of the heat wave, they got a huge bump up in sales. They were even able to, I think, garner a little bit extra market share. So that is a big positive that came out from the numbers. If you ask me, the cooling units is where they did the big amount of growth. But you've got to remember that these are cyclical businesses to some extent, right? So now you're going to go into a lull period for them where sales will not be the greatest. So you can't extrapolate that what they did in Q1 will be something that they'll be able to replicate all throughout the year. The period when you have the summers is where you have the highest sales. So I do believe that the stock has probably done a lot already and captures in most of the positives that are there. Although we believe that India still has a huge opportunity to grow over the long term when it comes to AC sales and cooling units and all of these products that they have. We believe all of that for the next maybe 2 years of expected growth is factored into the price. So would I be a buyer today? No, I would not. Results are good, but valuations are extremely expensive. Based on what we have projected, I think it's trading at about 56 times 1 year forward and 44 times 2 year forward, which tells me that the upside is factored in. So I would not be buying. No, I'd wait for corrections, sharper corrections to buy into the stock.
Okay, fair point. That's a view on Voltas. I'm coming back to you on the first question that we've got today. And incidentally, just a quick reminder, if you're tuning in right now, the number that you see on your screen, that's where you send your questions to me. And we've got the first question from Pankaj. He's asking about the cement space and specifically about JK Lakshmi Cement. It is not done particularly well in the year to date. I'm talking about 2024. It's down over 9% or thereabouts. But he's wondering whether to buy in the context of consolidation in the cement space. Samir, what's the view here?
So if you're only wanting to buy in the view of consolidation, I don't know if JK Cement is one of the target companies that are probably there for a consolidation. If you ask me, is cement in a good space? Yes, I do believe cement is in a very good space. Why? Because India is working on a massive infrastructure expansion, which is being driven by the government of India. Then apart from that, the real estate sector, which is the largest consumer of cement in the country, is doing extremely well. And when real estate does well, one of the easiest ways or proxy play to play the real estate industry, if you don't want to play a particular real estate company because you don't know what projects are there and whether they'll be able to complete in time and, all of those issues, then the best way to play it is the cement space. So we do believe that cement is in for the next 2 years of a good growth. So if you're looking to buy a cement company, just purely for from the consolidation, JK, I don't know if it becomes a play, but I am positive on the cement space. Ultratech is one of the companies that we look at. Shree Cement, yes, valuations are expensive, but they've come off a bit. They had a poor quarter this quarter, but we believe the longer term for Shree Cement remains good. So those would probably be our top 2 picks and not JK Lakshmi.
Okay, that's a fair point. I'm coming to you, Rajesh, on GAIL, and we've got Abhilash, who's bought at levels of 242. The stock is currently trading up, but at 230, and he's not been receiving the price that he's looking for. So it's not moved. The price has not moved the way that he anticipated that it would, Abhilash. He's wondering whether to hold or sell his position right now.
So my advice would be to hold the position. Though stock has not moved out, it's still in the consolidation. But the overall structure for GAIL is on the bullish side. I think if he can hold the position for some more couple of weeks, stock is ready to show good up move from here onward. After this consolidation, stock is almost holding its 20-day, 50-day moving average. So I think once stock manages to cross about 240, we are bullish on the stock at this juncture. Also, even about 240, there would be a breakout. And then possible target for GAIL would be around 265 to 270. But he has to hold it for positional perspective. At this level also, he can add on some more position also with stop loss of 220.
Okay. Coming to you, Samir, on Ola Electric, and this is a question from Raj Kumar in Bengaluru. Not sure if you had a view on the IPO and what your recommendation at the time was, but the stock has been stuck in upper circuit. It is, if I'm not mistaken, stuck today as well. And there's quite a considerable amount of volume in the stock right now. It is at 100 plus, 109 or thereabouts. He's wondering whether to buy if he gets the opportunity. What's the view?
So if you're investing for a short-term period, I wouldn't be buying. But if you have a long-term view on the, maybe a 3-year, 4-year horizon, Ola Electric is definitely an interesting company because I believe the shift to electric vehicles that is happening is taking time, but it will only accelerate as it goes forward and you get more charging stations and, more infrastructure that supports this entire ecosystem. So I believe there is a great opportunity. Now, they are also backward integrating where they're going to be making their own batteries. And the minute they start getting that into the system, I think they will have a price advantage over a lot of the competitors in the space. And when you have pricing power in your hand, you can probably capture a larger share of the market. So I do believe that Ola is something that one should look at. It is at the moment loss-making, there's no questions asked, and probably will have another year and a half before they can turn profitable. I mean, if you look at the Zomato story, it's a similar kind of situation, where they were making losses, the stocks actually corrected, because at some point people do look at fundamentals and valuation and all of those factors. So you might get an opportunity where the stock does dip. I would definitely recommend for a long-term investor to buy on corrections. If you're a short-term trader, I don't have a view on that at the moment because the stock is maybe in short supply and there's a lot of demand, but long-term, I'm definitely a buyer.
So, but why don't you specify what level would be good to accumulate? Because we've got another viewer, Geeta, who's also asking a similar question from the perspective of 5 years, which I guess would be the definition, and you would probably agree, of long-term. Would you buy, what level would you buy at?
So you can probably even buy a little bit here at 110 odd level. But ideally, I would like to say that the price of maybe 80 would be the absolute right price. So they came out with a good price on their IPO, on their pricing. I think if it comes around that levels, I would definitely go out and buy. I wouldn't wait for deeper corrections more than that. Because like I said, I'm more bullish longer term. And I can't predict where the exact bottom of the stock would come, but I would be a buyer around the IPO price. And let me also put in a disclaimer. We did apply in the issue and we are holding the stock.
Okay, that's thanks for that view. BSE Limited is the stock that we're talking about next, and Thomas is asking about this counter. He's talking about the intraday move. He's bought at level of 3,048, and he's asking why the stock is declining. I'm not very sure whether he's talking about the long-term trends, because I see over the last 5 days or so, it's up as much as 6.5%. Over the last month, it's gaining about 9.8%, and the year-to-date period has also been positive. It's up as much as 18% or thereabouts. Rajesh, does the trend hold, and is he likely to get his buy price?
I think he has to wait for a couple of months to get his price. Though a long-term structure is bullish, but since last 3-4 months, we are seeing some supply pressure in the stock prices. But still, stock on the long-term chart is holding the ground around 2,200. That's the important support area for the stock. I think till the stock is continues to hold about 2,200. We may see some buying action to remain in the BSE stock. And once the stock crosses about 2,650, 2,700 kind of zone, I think there would be another round of buying action can trigger in this stock, and then possibly stock may attempt to move further higher towards 2,900 to 3,000 kind of level. But for a long-term perspective, I think he may hold on the position. I think there is a potential in the stock, and then possibly 3,400, 3,500 would be the next target, but on the long-term perspective.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite the upside that you're suggesting. All right. We have to slip into a very quick break. Do stay with us. We will be back before you know it to take more of your questions. All right, welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit, and we're in the midst of taking all of your questions. This next one is quite an interesting one. In fact, it's from Abhinandan Prasad. He's writing in from Patna, and he's asking about arguably one of the stocks of the year. If you go back into 2023, this is also going to be the case. Suzlon, it's trading at, is that an upper circuit? I would think so, 80.36. He's bought at levels of 36 and 45, and he's wondering how far it will go. He's asking what the danger level is, if you can call it that, Rajesh, on the charts. This is, I guess, at some point one will have to ask the question, when can you call that run?
So very strong run-up going on in this stock, almost for this calendar year, 110% up move we have already seen for the Suzlon. But the way stock has moved up in last couple of months, it's a long-term breakout is already there on the stock prices, and I think the way buyers are confident on the stock to buy and hold on a week-on-week basis, that clearly shows that something a turnaround kind of thing is happening in this stock. We believe that I think he should trail the stop loss now towards 74 level. And I think if it's not breached below 74, there is still potential to continue upward journey, and possible target towards 95 to 100 would be there on coming weeks.
Okay, that's a fair point. We got Mukesh Patel, who's writing in from Vapi, and he's asking about GET&D. He's not given us his buy price, but he's saying that he's holding as many as 200 shares. He's asking for a fundamental view because he says that he's a long-term investor. What's the view, Samir, on the fundamentals?
So we don't have coverage on this one, GT.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so but not specific coverage, but if you were to talk about the space and the fundamentals that could affect it, what would that be?
So if you ask me, the power sector has been in deficit for some time, and not some time, but maybe the last 1 odd year. And we are seeing a continuous increase in the demand of power. So anything that is in this kind of space, which is catering to the power space, would continue to do well, my guess is. But like I said, I don't know exactly the details of this company to really comment on it. But the power sector is in a sweet spot.
Okay, that's a fair point. All right, we've got a question on DCB Bank, and this is coming in from Sulochana. She's asking this question from Vishakhapatnam, and she's got 1,000 shares at a price of 136. She's asking for a view on whether to hold this or not. The stock is currently trading at 119 or thereabouts. On the charts, Rajesh, what's the view?
I would say she should switch to some other bank because still, if we analyze the DCB bank structure, it's in a downtrend, and the way stock is, trading below to all its important moving averages, and now stock is trading near to its critical support area, which is placed at around 115. I think if it breaks below 115, then there would be another round of supply pressure we can see in this stock. I think they can switch to Federal Bank. That stock is looking more attractive on the technical front. So I think that stock can deliver good return from here onwards. So try to exit in DCB Bank and shift into the Federal Bank. Technical structure for Federal Bank is quite bullish, and we believe that here we can see target towards 240 going forward.
Okay. All right. So the next question, and by the way, if you try to avoid asking multiple stocks at once, we will only be able to take one. So I will generally choose the first stock that you ask about. This is the question coming in from Mr. Dhansuklal Barucha, who's writing in from Valsad. And he's asking about ITD Cementation. He says that he's a long-term investor and he's got 3,200 shares of ITD Cementation. He's asking what the view is on this particular counter. The stock is currently trading at just about 550. Samir, what's the view on the fundamentals?
So the fundamentals are good. The construction space is doing well. So from that point of view, everything looks hunky-dory. There is there's talk of the ITD Cementation is actually up for sale. So if that is the case, and if the current existing promoters sell out and a new promoter comes in, what price it gets done is going to be something interesting. Plus, there will be an open offer that follows. So that could lead to some near-term upside. If you are in for the longer term, I don't see any problem on holding on to this. The company will do well. But the top pick for me in the construction space right now, the one I've been buying, and I've actually suggested it on your channel before, is PL Kashyap. I think the company is doing extremely well. The order book is growing. It's smaller in size, scaling up operations, operating leverage playing out. So that is something that one can look at, and we have a target price of about 140 on that one. All
right. Darshan Mandviwala from Surat, Gujarat is asking about IRFC, which he has at a price of 184.30. He's asking for a short-term view on this particular counter. The stock is currently trading above his buy or just above his buy price at 185. Rajesh, what's the view on the charts?
So I think most of the railway stocks have witnessed some, profit taking from higher level. But still, if we analyze on the long-term structure, short-term structure, still most of the stocks are holding the ground near to their support area. So we believe that, again, the buying interest would come in all this counter after this corrective move. IRFC, if it continues to hold above 178, I think he should hold on the position. Structure is still bullish. And once the stock crosses above 195, then there is a possibility that, stock may exhibit good amount of rally towards 100 to 250 to 220. So I think with stop loss of 178, he should hold the position.
All right. I'm just pulling up the next question as I speak, and this is Veena's question. She's asking about SJVN, and she says that she's bought at levels of 155, and she's been holding for a few weeks, for 3 weeks. She's asking whether to hold on. She doesn't want to sell at a loss, and do you think that there's a possibility that she will recover her price in the next 1 month or so? And okay, so she's also asking whether it's a good stock to have in the portfolio for the long term. I will ask you this, Samir. SJVN, would you hold as a portfolio stock?
No, I wouldn't hold it. I think there are better opportunities in the power sector, which are, so I'm not denying the fact that SJVN is also increasing the renewable energy space, capacity. They're putting in more of the solar plants, the wind plants, and all of that. So they are also going to grow. But a company that we are actually very positive on the space, and where I would put more of my money is Tata Power. And if you want to be only in a government entity, then I think NTPC is something I would look at, from the reason that not only are they expanding on the renewable side, but also on the thermal side. And if they come up with the IPO, which there's a lot of talk around for their renewable business, that could lead to some amount of value unlocking. So if you want a PSU, then NTPC. If you want to, if somebody wants a leader in the space, not leader, but one of the stocks we are very positive on is Tata Power.
Okay. All right. Jay has got this next question. I thought he was giving me advice. And that he was telling me to go long on Bank Nifty. I didn't really understand that he was asking a question. Rajesh, he's actually asking whether you would suggest going long on the Bank Nifty right now.
I think for trading point of view, yes, he can go long in Bank Nifty. And the way Bank Nifty has holding above 50,400, and in the initial dip, almost Bank Nifty future has taken the support from those levels. So I think the support area is very well defended by the Bank Nifty in the initial dip. I think there is a possibility that Bank Nifty may attempt to cross 51,000. That's the immediate challenging level based on the call concentration. And looking at the data during the day, we believe that there is a possibility that in second half Bank Nifty may attempt to cross 51,000 level. So I think at this level also he can add the position with stop loss of 50,600 for Bank Nifty future. Upside target, immediate target is 51,000 followed by 51,300.
Yeah. All right. We've got multiple questions on Olectra Green. Actually, no, this is, okay, just one question. And this is, I'm trying to pull up the name as well. This is from Shrikant Velpula. And he has bought at levels of 1842, if I'm not mistaken. And he's looking for the view on this particular counter. From the short-term perspective, Rajesh, what's the view?
So Olectra Green overall structure for the stock is on the bullish side, but in the last couple of weeks we have seen some profit taking, but long-term structure is still bullish. I think the stock price is still far from its purchase price. So stock is now trading near to its important major support area of 1450, 1500 kind of zone. So I think if it continues to hold above 1450, it's able to defend this level. So I think there is a possibility that we could see some pullback action. And if it crosses above 1700 mark, then I think there is a possibility again to move back to the all-time high trajectory also. So at this juncture, 1450 should be your stop loss. Above 1700, there is a possibility that in short period of time we can see a target towards 2000 also.
All right. Unfortunately, that's completely the end of this particular edition of Ask Profit. Samir as well as Rajesh, thank you so much for taking the time. Always a pleasure. And viewers, that's all we have for you on this particular edition of Ask Profit. Do stay tuned. Lots more coming up on NDTV Profit.
Hello, you're watching NDTV Profit. We're now joined by the Executive Director of the Inox Group, Mr. Devansh Jain, to talk about the quarter gone by for Inox Wind. Good morning, Devansh.
Hi, good morning, Mihika. Pleasure to be back.
Yes. Congratulations on a strong set of numbers this quarter, net profit of 50 crores versus a loss a year ago. And, margins have significantly expanded to over 21%. Is this the level the company expects to maintain, or could we see some moderation?
Look, I think it's been the best Q1 financial performance in the history of Inox Wind. Having said that, we've guided for 15 to 16% margins for the full financial year. So while Q1 may have been 20-21%, but overall we expect the full financial year to be close to about 16%.
Okay, got it. 15 to 16% of EBITDA margins. Let's also talk about your 2.9 gigawatt order book. How is execution set to take place? And could you also maybe give us, the details on the per megawatt revenue run rate that the company is running at?
Look, I think execution is continuously ramping up. I think every quarter over the past 5 quarters has been better. And I think every quarter going forward will continue to become larger and larger. Having said that, Q1 and Q2 typically are lower than Q3 and Q4, given the onset of monsoons in H1. I'm not saying it's skewed to the extent of 1090, but 35-65 skew is broadly what happens. So H2 is definitely going to be much larger than H1. I think execution continues to play out well for us. We are ramping up massively across the board. 140 megawatts this quarter was almost about 90% more than the quarter of the previous financial year. And I think with respect to the 2.9 gigawatt order book which we have, I think that's something which will take care of the next 2 years. What we've guided for publicly is about 800 megawatts this year and 1200 megawatts next year, with the caveat that there's a significant upside risk to the to the numbers in the next financial year. We'll talk about more of that as we move forward over the next 1 or 2 quarters.
Yes. Devanshan, what's the per megawatt revenue run rate that the company is running at?
Look, we're gunning for about 6 crores per megawatt, which in the full financial year overall we'll end up achieving. You'll have sometimes commissioning happening in 1 quarter or shifting to the next quarter, or sometimes some extra nacelles going or blades going. But broadly, the thumb rule would be 6 crores per megawatt would be our guidance in terms of top line per megawatt for this financial year.
Got it. And in terms of order mix, now 62% in end-to-end turnkey services, balance is equipment supply. Is this the kind of mix that the company is aiming at?
So we are gunning for about 50% of equipment supply and 50% of turnkey. In the last financial year, we probably had about 80-85% turnkey and 10-15% equipment supply. We've now moved to about 60-40, 60 being turnkey, 40 being equipment supply. We are negotiating multiple deals at this point in time. A lot of them are equipment supply transactions. But yeah, I mean, in such a large order book, whether it's 55-45 or 60-40, it's not really going to make much difference.